Hey, everybody, this is TJR.
And this is Robert Kinsler, and welcome to the news. This is the weekly show where TJ and I discuss the music news headlines and new music releases that have grabbed our interest and that we want to share with all of you. This week, we're going to be discussing news for the Beatles, Bruce Springsteen, Billie Eilish, MoFi, and more. Much more, actually. As always, we can't cover everything, so if we missed anything at all, please share in the comments and show your support by clicking like and playing these videos to the very end so the YouTube algorithm recognizes us.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
And
so TJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing the best I can. How about you?
Good. I cannot believe we're shooting this on Thursday, July 21st. It seemed like my inbox was lighting up all day with one big news story after another. I don't even think we can cover everything, but I thought, hey, let's give it a try.
Yeah, there's a lot happening, and you've got the big story right now. So just go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, we were actually prepping to shoot this episode, and I see a headline saying, after 5 Emmy nomination haul, Get Back's Peter Jackson plots another Beatles film with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. So, I had to click on that and open it, even though had all these other things we were planning to talk about. And, there's just not a lot of news here. But it sounds like Peter Jackson did confirm that he's planning to do some kind of film project, or I don't know if it's film, television, live stream. He's planning to do something with Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, but he did give away that it's not a documentary. But there's really not a lot of details that have come out yet.
It definitely raises more questions than it answers. The main news is that he's doing this, or they are doing this. He's going to make another film. It is a film. Now, of course, how it's going to be distributed is anybody's guess, but he is making another film, and it's going to be with Paul McCartney. It's going to be with Ringo Starr, but it's not a documentary. So what could it be then?
I know.
Is it drama? Is it a comedy?
Let's hope it's not the Lord of the Rings version that the Beatles wanted to do back in the 60s. I don't think, I think Peter Jackson already covered that.
Yeah, the infamous Lord of the Rings. Is it the return? Is it the return of Yellow Submarine that was aborted some years back? What? If it's not a documentary, what is this then?
I know. Well, this is what he told Deadline, which is a publication. He said, quote, "I'm talking to the Beatles about another project, something very, very different than Get Back," Jackson told Deadline. "We're seeing what the possibilities are, but it's another project with them. It's not really a documentary." Then it says ... And that's all I can really say. So I don't know if I can say much more than that, because if Peter Jackson's not going to say it, anything I would say is a guess.
Is it a buddy action film? I mean, I don't know. It's just, to me, this is just like very head scratching, but I'm curious. Of course, I want to know what it's going to be. Not a whole lot to report except that it's been announced, but still it boggles the mind.
It does.
The only thing I can think is a documentary. What else could it be?
But, I mean, with all the technology at Peter Jackson's disposal and all the technology he's developing for film, not just some of these miracles he pulled off with Get Back and the Hobbit trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy and King Kong and everything else. Who knows? I don't. Maybe he ages them backwards where they're younger, and it's like a Beatles tale. Who knows? I mean, anything I say probably silly, but anything is possible with Peter Jackson, I think.
At this point, I think the fun is in speculating. I think there's so many comical possibilities. I see 100 Saturday Night Live skits right now in my head, as I pop off these different ideas, Ringo and Paul in a buddy cop movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
So at any rate, though, but it's still, it's interesting to hear about. On that note, though, I do want to bring up something here. I want to say I was wrong. Last week, when we talked about the Blu-ray release of Get Back, I, of course, wanted to stick the knife in again at all the haters, who said, who initially, when this was first announced, Get Back, that Disney was going to censor it. They were going to sanitize it and everything. I said, no, they're not, because this is not a Disney film. It's an Apple Corps and Wingnuts film. Disney's just handling the distribution. Well, it turns out I was at least on some level, wrong about all this. I found out that Disney did want to remove the swearing from the 3-part docuseries. But what happened is, of course, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and Olivia Harrison pushed back, basically said, you have to do this. And there's a quote here from NME, from Peter Jackson. The truthfulness of it is important to them. They don't want to whitewash. They don't want it to be sanitized. Disney wanted to remove all the swearing, and Ringo and Paul and Olivia said, that's how we spoke. That's how we talk. That's how we want the world to see us. So yeah, I guess I was wrong, at least partially wrong about this. It turned out that none of it was sanitized. And again, because this was not a Disney film, it was not owned by them, but they did try to have some say in it, but they were basically told, no, we're not going to have it. So I'm glad that happened. I'm glad it wasn't sanitized, but I do want to admit when I'm wrong about something. And so I wanted to just make that very clear.
And TJ, I didn't have that background, so I'm glad you brought it up. And I think it's important that we do, like when we make a mistake, even if not intentional, that we correct ourselves, because I think that that's important.
Yeah, I guess. Anyways, though, no, seriously, it is important. It is very important. There are so many people on YouTube who they'll say something and not maliciously. Some people do say malicious things as fact that are not fact, and they do it maliciously, and then they never correct themselves. But a lot of people do make statements that they think are correct, and then they're not, but then they never come back and correct it because they just want to keep going with their channel. And so whenever we're always going to try to do that here, whenever we're wrong about something. So with that note, let's move on. So I guess we should talk about the latest news about Bruce Springsteen and about Ticketmaster and tickets for his show. This also just kind of came up today, but basically fans were shocked that when they went to Ticketmaster to get tickets for his new tour, that in some cases these tickets were at the $4,000, $5,000 range for pricing.
Crazy. Yeah.
The reason for this is Ticketmaster's new variable pricing system, which is supposed to curtail ticket scalping, but what's happening with this situation is it's making it just as bad as ticket scalping. Some customers were able to get in early and buy tickets at reasonable prices, but once demand started spiking, literally prices started to go up right in front of customers' eyes. $200, $600, $1,000,
wow.
$2,000, and just literally seeing it shoot up. And now the thing is people are going to blame Bruce Springsteen like it's his fault. I have no idea how any of this works, but my guess is that I'm willing to bet that Bruce Springsteen just gets paid a flat fee by the venue to just show up and do his show, to bring his entire stage show there. And the venue makes the money. And of course, Ticketmaster makes the money. And the idea was to take the money away from the scalpers. And it probably all goes, I would say the majority goes to not to ticket scalpers, but to Ticketmaster. Now you might want to say are the ticket scalpers now.
Yeah.
Case. I'm willing to bet that's how it works. If anybody knows, please let us know. And I'm willing to bet it's on a case-by-case basis with different artists and different groups.
I did read one of the reports. It may have been in Variety. As of the shooting of this episode, Little Steven was the only one who really commented, and he said Bruce wasn't behind it and stuff. But obviously the band, or the members of the band, primarily Bruce Springsteen, are the ones that the fans know. So like you said, they're going to inevitably blame the artist. And I know over the years, Pearl Jam, Bruce Springsteen, there's been certain artists that have really fought hard to try to stop the scalping, stop the exorbitant pricing, where everyday average fans that really want to just see the band, they don't want to go broke to go see a single concert. But it's just really sad that this is still going on and they can't figure out a good solution after all these many years.
And another good reason why streaming concerts might be a good idea. We talked about that last week. Yeah,
exactly.
So also today, just real quick, I want to briefly address the MoFi controversy, mobile fidelity. You and I both have mobile fidelity recordings. I know you've got some of their super audio CDs. I have a couple of their LP pressings, and they're known, of course, for their high quality audiophile pressings. And over this last week, this story has been blowing up, not in the news media, but within the YouTube vinyl community. And it all kind of began with the In Groove channel, which is a very popular and really good YouTube channel, basically reporting from some very reliable sources that Mobile Fidelity has been digitally, either using digital sourcing or digital steps on their re-releases that they do of legendary albums since about 2015, roughly. And this sent a lot of shockwaves within the vinyl community on YouTube. The fact that when you look at a Mobile Fidelity pressing, they have that original master recording across the label, and people just assume that means from the original master tapes. And this story just blew up really quick to the point where Mobile Fidelity invited Mike from the In Group to come to their facilities, and they sat down and did a question and answer session. There was a 1-hour interview video posted yesterday, which I only just got to watch today. And there's already been a follow-up video now posted about an hour or so ago as we're recording this, which I haven't had a chance to see. But I know there have been people asking, what do you think about the Mobile Fidelity controversy? And I want to talk about it, but it's moving so fast that I don't want to comment when we don't have all the information yet. But my personal feeling about this is what I think we're going to find out is that the work that a place like Mobile Fidelity does is way more complicated than any of us realize. And that every master tape they have to work with brings with it a unique set of problems that need to be figured out and solved. And that quite often those problems require either digital steps or digital sourcing. And reaction to this news has been varied throughout the last week. A lot of YouTubers are posting on it within the vinyl community. Everything from outrage and anger, I've been betrayed, to, hey, if it sounds good, who cares? So there's been a lot going on with it. I just kind of wanted to briefly address it here. Like I said, there's still a lot of information that needs to be absorbed, and it's not over yet. I will talk about it eventually, I hope on this channel here on a separate video, but I just wanted to briefly address it here. And anyway, so that's, I just wanted to talk about that just real quickly here because people have asked me about it. So with that said, let's talk about new releases. And I know you've got some stuff you want to talk about regarding the Lone Bellow, a band that I have talked about back when we did Music Worth Buying. So I'll let you go ahead and start that off, and then I want to talk about some stuff too.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, let's talk about the Lone Bellows. They're based in Nashville. They're this great Americana trio, very talented. I saw them back when they were breaking in 2013. I saw them at the Stagecoach Festival. So they have this brand new single titled Gold. This is a beautiful, shimmering recording. I just love, the song is just it's a beautiful song, but it sounds beautiful, the production on it. And it's their first release since our last album, which was titled Half Moon Light, came out a couple of years ago. So I guess it's about the impact of the opiate crisis. And it's just a great song. Very, it's not political so much. I think it's just talking about the real world effects of what this drug crisis has done. But it's just a really nice song to listen to, even though I guess you could say the subject matter is very dark. And like I said, I just heard it. It was just released today. I've heard it today, but I'm looking forward to hearing this song more. And even I think it's one of those songs, the more you hear it, the more you're going to get out of it.
I'm going to check it out once we're done. I'll definitely check that out. I also just checked out the new, I guess, 2 singles that Billie Eilish released. This is actually being referred to as a 2-song EP, digital EP. It's on all the digital streaming platforms. It's entitled Guitar Songs. It features 2 new tracks, one entitled TV, which is a track that Billie Eilish has already been performing live at her shows. And the other one is entitled The 30th, which has not been heard until today. And the title Guitar Songs for this 2-song EP is appropriate because it primarily features acoustic guitar. Each song features acoustic guitar with very sparse musical arrangements. But personally, I'd not heard TV prior. So this is my first time hearing it, and the 30th. And I will just say I'll recommend these tracks. I was very struck by how emotionally powerful these 2 very intimate recordings sounded. especially the second one, the 30th, which appears to me to be based on an experience with a really bad car accident and the emotional regrets that an individual can feel afterwards, after they've experienced this. And this is something I think a lot of us can probably relate to.
Oh, yeah.
Where we've been in a bad car accident and all the like, maybe I should have done this. Maybe what if this had happened? What if this had happened? There's all this turmoil that sometimes goes on in a person's head in regards to this. And I think this song really captures it. If I'm interpreting this song correctly, which I don't think I'm misinterpreting it, but
that's how I hear it, TJ. That's how I hear it as well. It's very, very powerful. And I think all of us, I would venture to say probably everyone has been struck by, either if they themselves haven't been impacted, but somebody that they know and love has either been killed or seriously hurt in a traffic accident. But these are just very emotional songs, especially this one. And her performance is just fantastic. I mean, it's hard to believe. It seems like she's been around a while. She's only 20 and she continues to be like the most groundbreaking artist of her generation, I think. Just
I'm
fantastic.
glad to see her doing as well as she is. And to anybody that's going to check it out, I recommend to listen to it the first time on YouTube, where you can have the lyric video. So yeah, I just wanted to recommend that. And I know you've still got some more releases you want to recommend as well.
Yeah, the next thing, again, another media release I got today. It's like I got so much news today. There's going to be a historic Chris Christopherson recording. It's called Live at Gilley's, Pasadena, Texas, September 15th, 1981. So I know it's a long title there. It's going to be released via New West Records. It's coming out on September 2nd. And this was a concert that was recorded on the final night of his tour. And I guess it has 15 songs. There's 2 advanced tracks from this live recording. Both are fantastic. I listened to them both today. Really love the recording. And I've seen Chris Christopherson a few times, but it was more the tail end of his recording career. He's fortunately still with us, but I think he's kind of retired from touring now. When I saw him both at Stagecoach and when I saw him in Costa Mesa, his voice was primarily, very limited range, still a very dynamic, powerful performer. I mean, but here he had a much stronger voice back, 40 plus years ago. And I am really looking forward to this album. So, and like I said, it's coming out on September 2nd. It's going to have 15 songs and very excited by that.
Excellent. At any rate, though, I know you have one more album you want to do a review on.
I do. Well, it's actually, this is actually a multi-disc, multi-format title. This is actually a dual release. You can see that on the side here. You'll see the red and the yellow there. But this is titled Phil Lynott, Songs for While I'm Away. But then it also has another title on it, Thin Lizzie, The Boys Are Back in Town, live at Sydney Opera House, October 1978. So what it is here, let me try to open this up, see if it'll all fit on screen. There's actually, on the version I have here, let me step back a little bit here. So there's actually 3 discs. There's a Blu-ray disc, which is the documentary on the life of Phil Lynott. Then there's actually a CD and a DVD version of the Thin Lizzie concert that was staged back in 1978. And I have to tell you, this is just a fantastic release. The documentary really hit me. It was so emotional. I did not know a lot about Phil's life. It talks about how he came to Dublin when he was very young. He lived with his grandparents, talked about how he discovered music and, went on to become this really influential artist, especially in Ireland. They're well known for a few songs in the United States, but they're much better known in Ireland, which is where the band is from.
Yeah, I understand there's a statue.
There is, that was exactly. There's a statue there, but the documentary it goes into his life and it uses parts of songs that he recorded with Thin Lizzie and with his solo career that really kind of further get you to understand where he was coming from and the importance of his songwriting and kind of how he was so proud of his Irish roots and brought that into his music and stuff. Just a really great documentary, and the concert just flat out rocks. I mean,
Wow.
I don't think I'd ever seen a full Thin Lizzy concert. I'd never saw him live, and I hadn't even seen a full length, concert recording. And they just kicked ass. I mean, it's great.
I understand they had quite the reputation, although I've never heard a full-length concert either. All I know is the songs I grew up with hearing on the radio. But I've understood, yeah, they had quite a reputation for their live show. I always thought his last name was pronounced Lynott, but I could be. I guess I was wrong.
I might be mispronouncing it. Yeah, you know what? I think you might be right. I may be butchering it.
Or Lynott, who knows? But if either of us are wrong, let us know. Let us know. But this is because we grew up with rock stars prior to the internet.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't have access to correct pronunciation sometimes, and sometimes you did mispronounce certain people's names.
And like I said, I'll say, hey, I'm a writer. I'm not necessarily as knowledgeable about, haven't interviewed any of these artists and stuff, but yeah, it's a fantastic documentary. And I'll tell you, they interview not only his wife and his two daughters, but you hear like from Adam, who another great bassist from U2, Adam Clayton. He talks about the importance of bass and what he brought to that. And Huey Lewis, I didn't know, may very well have never become famous and had a career without Phil kind of inspiring him. When I guess Huey was opening for him, the show didn't go well, and Phil watched the entire show from the sidelines, took him aside and told him some things he could do to kind of better command the audience. It's just a very fascinating documentary, just really eye-opening. And as a music fan, I think it'll make you want to learn more about him and his music, and his songwriting.
Excellent. Yeah, I'd like to check that one out too. So that wraps up this week's edition of The News. And Robert, thank you so much for hanging out, talking music.
Fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. And thank you very much for hanging out with us and watching till the very end. We really appreciate you. If you like these videos, please hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. And now I want to say thank you, patron supporters, for all that you do. Patron supporters receive exclusive weekly videos that are not available on the channel, or they get early access to videos before anyone else does. If you'd like to be a patron supporter, please go to patreon.com/TJR the original. And everybody, thank you so much for watching. We'll look forward to talking to you all again next week. Take care. Bye.